here are the render from this current scene. You can see these two spheres, ping pong balls if you will, have logos on them. I had to do a workaround to get this to work with Arnold. So what I'm going to try to do is show you those steps, and this ball right now is just with a Lambert default Lambert shader. So we're going to try to put this logo on here to show you how I did that. Okay, so I've got this selected, and where's the logo coming from? So I made the logo in Adobe Illustrator. It's just a letter, and then using the path, the type path tool, I put a ring around it and created this file, and then saved it as an Illustrator file, and then eventually we'll see I placed it in the UV the PSD file that I created out of the UV editor. Now I just sorted it like this because that gave me the best version of it when I actually had it in Maya. When it was when it was in Maya. So we'll get to that part. So let's start here. So first thing I'm going to do is I'll make a brand new logo here, or not logo, but shader. So I'm going to start with my Arnold standard shader like we've been doing all semester here, and I'm going to give that a name. We'll call it logo demo. Okay, and then we'll assign that to the sphere. Okay, we'll go into the UV editor here. And we'll see the standard UV pattern we've seen before. We'll go under image and say create a PSD network. We want to make sure this option, detailed attribute list, is there. We're going to click on the base color and say add that base color attribute to this PSD file. I'm going to go up here and tell it where to save the file. So I'm inside the render data shaders, and I'm going to give this a name so I remember what it is. So we're going to call it logo demo record. Okay. Again, I've already upped or increased the X and Y size to 2048 pixels in the X and Y direction. We're including this UV snapshot. What else do we have here? The value is that. Anti-alias lines I don't worry about. And we want to make sure we're going in the right place. Yeah, we are. Okay, so we're going to say, now it says open Photoshop automatically. Let's see if it will work. Okay, so this is what we've created. We talked about in class. I'm going to create a new layer. I'm going to add that layer to the folder. So this layer, this is the logo demos base color that we are making. This is the layer that the software Maya has made. This is the snapshot. This new layer I made, I'm going to make a 50% gray initially so we can see that grid pattern better. Alright, I'm going to hide the background, although it doesn't matter. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to place And I'm going to place embed so that it's actually in the file, not just linked to it. Let's see. This is the logo I made. Okay, that's the Illustrator file. Image, now I have to say page. Okay, it puts it dead center on the page. Now remember we looked at earlier, this area here is better placement about where we want to see it on the ball. I'm going to enlarge it so it's a little bigger. And then I'm going to go back to this gray layer we made, and I'm going to change it. I'm going to fill it with a color. I could say white, but I'm going to just say color instead and pick this kind of pale yellow. Okay, and I'm going to hide the UV shot. So it put this layer, my ping pong ball layer, or logo if you will, on its own. It didn't put it on that layer that we got when we came in. So I can delete that. Oops, I'm sorry. I can delete that layer. Because what Maya is going to do is it's going to look for what's inside here. Okay, so I'm going to say File, Save. And then we're going to go back to Maya. Click on the ball. And you can see it shows the logo fine. You know, there it is. Looks good. And you know and I know from what happened today in class that when I render this, it's going to come up like caca. Okay, so the layer comes up. Basically, Maya's not seeing any color. That's why it's coming up black. And if you look at the attribute editor for the ball, notice if we go to the color attribute, see how it's not listing as a file. It's listing basically. It's somehow putting it as another element, like as a texture, and for some reason that's not working. So this is how I'm going to fix it. Go back to the hypershade, and I'm going to find that logo we created here, the logo demo, and I'm going to look at its input and output connections now in the hypershade window here. And this is what I know. So you can see what I'm saying. This is the place node. It's out UV is going to UV coordinate. This is going to the Maya, and then it's coming out color to the base. But we're not getting what we want. So I'm going to delete that. I'm going to select that connection and delete it. There we go. And now what I should get now is I should just get that ball back white again, because oops, sorry. Because all I've done is gone back. I'm sorry. I should just probably get back to nothing, because I don't think there's any color on this thing. Yeah, see, the color is now at black. So I'm going to pump the color all the way up to white, and I'm also going to make the weight of the color 100%. Okay, and if I render this now, what we should see is just this. This is just a plain white ball now. Okay. All right, so let's go back, and you can tell there's the kind of yellowish vanilla color, if you will, I made in Photoshop. So let's see now if we can get this one to match that one, or at least similar to it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to select that checkerboard, and I'm going to say, give me a file. And now look what's happened. Maya has connected a file node to the base color. So it couldn't handle the PSD node directly, but it could handle a file node to the base color. If you remember, this is what happened when we did when you took your paint layer out of Mudbox. It did the same thing. So I'm actually just doing this same thing. What I'm going to do now is go back and tell it what file to put there. So I'm going to go use the PSD file we created in Maya. Notice it looks awful lot like this one looked up there. But if I re-render it, let's see if it worked. Bada bing, bada boom. Now see, here's the problem. You can see where it's distorted. And you know, basically if you look at the PSD file, you wouldn't know that. Or you might not recognize it, I should say. So what I ended up doing was going back and putting this layer back to gray just for a second, the kind of background there, just so I could see better. And turning the grid back on, selecting this layer, and then saying transform scale. And I disconnected in Photoshop the locked proportion, right? So I disconnected that. It's no longer, when it's black, that means the width and height are locked, and when it's not, that means you can change to disproportionately. So I'm going to make the logo a little taller and a little skinnier and just a little bigger. I'm going to move it up just a little bit more and save it. Now that's, I'm sorry, I'm going to say place. Now what I need to do is turn off the grid, change my background color back to the, you know, the kind of vanilla color I had there. Save it one more time. Okay, now when I go back to Maya, you can see if I'm not in the hypershade here. I'm actually going to go to the attribute editor and click on the link, and you see under the file name it has a reload function. So if I reload, theoretically it's gone through the path, come back, and now we've got a pretty good rendition of the logo. We could obviously make it even. What I found is making it taller doesn't work as well as making it. I'm going to do Command T because that's transform. Make sure my dimensions aren't. I'm going to make it a little skinnier still. Again, save it, place, save. Okay, it's been saved. Back in Maya, back in the attribute editor again. Reload, and then double check to see. And now we've got, relatively speaking, you know, the ball we want. So that logo will obviously make it easy for the viewer to understand that the ball is rotating. That's the whole purpose of this exercise. That's the best I can show you in terms of a workaround to get this to work.